Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to this week's edition of the Digital Shop Talk Radio. I'm Tom Dorsey. We got quite a show for you today. Like I told you last week, we're changing our format up a little bit, and we are going to do a full hour from now on. And in the first half an hour, we're going to be talking about kind of why you should be making some changes in your shop. And for this episode, we're going to be talking specifically, on topic again about how to stay relevant, how to stay busy during the COVID-19 pandemic. And so welcome back, Adam Bendzick from Service Automotive. Adam has been a regular. We're probably going to make him a co-host here pretty quick, but we couldn't, we have to continue this conversation. As a matter of fact, I was just on with Drive on Monday and did a Facebook Live over there, same topic, and matter of fact, really strong audience there as well. And we had a nice breakout session afterwards. And we really want to continue off of that, right? As we were talking in the Digital Shop Summit, we were talking last show, you got to do some campaigns. You got to stay connected. You got to stay relevant. Today, we want to get into more detail. We want to get to the nuts and bolts and talk about some results. We've offered to send out campaigns on your behalf for all of our customers over the last week. We've been doing that. So we'd like to hear some of those results from you as well on, how you are thinking about what messaging you're using, what format you're working in to get those customers engaged, maybe additional services that you're offering in your operation to make it easy for them to do business with you, which is extremely critical. How you are, kind of assuaging those fears of people that, don't want to leave the house, all that good stuff. And so we're going to chop it up with Adam today. We've got a special guest also. And in the second half of the show, we're going to be going into kind of the how to do it. And we've got, actually, let me say two special guests because I don't want to take anything away from the one that I will reveal now, which is Chris Maggard. She's a fantastic trainer for AutoVitals, super deep knowledge in CRM and marketing, all the way back from her Customer Link days. We were able to, we were lucky enough to recruit her after Customer Link was acquired, and she's been helping our customers ever since. And, a lot of you know Chris, and you know that the results that she can bring to the table. So we're going to have her come in and really give it to us from an operational perspective, and really from, how do you create these campaigns and think about what's the most effective structure and messaging that you can get. And we'll have Adam continuing to join us there and kind of giving us his insight on what's been working for him. And then our special guest, which I will not reveal until the second half hour, so you have to stay tuned, will also be joining us, and he's got tremendous success as well. To join, if you're just watching us on the Facebook live stream and you want to see the second half, you're going to have to join our Zoom room, and you can go to autovitals.com/DSTR, autovitals.com/DSTR. You'll register, but you know what? Hey, it's going to give you notifications for when we have awesome shows like this one in the future, and so that you're always prepared, and then you'll also be able to join and contribute. We want to hear your questions. Get in the chat if you're in the Zoom room already. Ask those questions. Give us your success stories and ideas, and let's chop it up. So Adam, don't mean to overrun my intro, other than I love to talk, obviously, but what do you think? What do you have to say, my friend?
That's probably one thing we have in common is we probably both love to talk. So, glad to be back again. Definitely a few weeks here in a row, but it's been nice to communicate with people. The networking, keeping a positive attitude and such has been great through all this.
Yeah, and we've been getting great response just because of that. A lot of people are just like, man, I'm just so happy to be able to see other folks in the industry and stay connected and feel like I'm not, stuck in a cell somewhere. So really appreciate what you've been doing. And hey, you're going to be, you've been working on a project. Tell us a little bit about the project. I think today is the grand unveiling, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Dustin asked if we could premiere it on the show. So without a doubt, that's awesome. A lot of it is the involvement of AutoVitals in the shops that are all customers and all part of that network. So it's been great to everybody's involvement. We had several shops that sent us pictures and video and different audio and everything. So we tried to incorporate all that into it. And just the general message, I left a long video on Facebook kind of explaining what we were going to do, which got to be obviously long-winded, but what it came down to is just creating a really quick, or not a really quick video, a emotional, vulnerable type video that says, hey, we're going through hard times, and this, quite frankly, it sucks. It's just a matter of let's get through it. Let's get it through it together. Let's keep that unity, that strength that is in the automotive repair industry, and the shops that are involved in it. Let's band together and say, hey, we're going to beat this thing together. And if there's anything that we can reach out to each other to do to help each other, by all means. My Facebook Messenger is always open. We've gotten several messages. It's been pretty cool. It's actually been, really kind of, I don't know what I want to say. It's really been kind of special to get the messages from the other shops and the shop owners and everything to say, things like, hey, you've been kind of like a leader through all this and everything like that. And I don't view myself as that by any means, but at the same time, when hard times come up, I just view it as like, I just want to stay positive and step up and try to do something different and make a difference. And if that has inspired anybody, great, more power to it without a doubt. But there's a lot of people that are contributing to keeping that positive aspect. It's not just myself or our shop or anything. There's just a lot out there. So it, really kind of makes you feel warm and tingly after it's all said and done.
Well, that's the thing, right, man, is you got to give to receive, right? And if you do that, and that's how you lead, right? You lead by example, and you put it out there, and you make that decision, and you commit, and you do it, right? And I mean, that's what we do on an everyday basis. Every single person in the audience, everybody listening to us today, Adam, does that every single day, right? They get up, put their boots on, and they go get it done, right? And it's no different. And this is really where the rubber meets the road, is when we're in times of crisis like this, right? And, gosh, is it another week? Is it another 6 months? Who knows? But
Exactly.
but the most important thing is that you have a community to serve, right? You have folks that depend on you, and now it's time to, like you were like, I mean, it was so prescient what you said, in the show. Matter of fact, it was before Summit, right? Was when you said, hey, I can, basically I'm paraphrasing, right? I could roll up in a corner, in a ball in a corner over here, or I can use this time to improve myself, because we're going to come out of this and we're going to be ready for it. And I can get ahead of the game right now. Yeah, I might take it in the shorts in the short term, maybe even in the midterm. But you know what? I'm going to come out of it. I'm going to rebalance, and I'm going to have a plan, and I'm going to drive forward, right? And that's how we're going to succeed. And real quick, I'll tell you a little insight. I was talking with a lady who works for the county, just happened to be standing next to her in line, and we were kind of, even though we were 6 feet apart, we were still socializing. And she was telling me she inspects businesses, restaurants, and she was saying that she thinks 70% of the restaurants in her territory are never going to be able to reopen. Right. And so that's the impact that it can have on folks. And if there's any way you can get out there and support your local restaurants, support your local automotive repair, support all your local businesses, now's the time to do it. Even if they're just going to offer you, sodas in a case from the cooler, and they're not, just buy something from them, keep them going, get the delivery, do whatever you got to do. If you want to start helping folks, maybe you're going to send some sandwiches or a pizza over to, the kids hospital, or to, retirement home or something, buy something and send it to somebody, and just help people out, keep them busy. I'll get off of my soapbox right now, but it's getting critical that we reach out and that we support each other, just like you said, Adam. And so let's talk a little bit about how we do that, right? Because and what Adam's going to be showing here at the end of the first half hour is a video project he worked on, and I got to see a little piece of it, and I tell you what, it was powerful. It was very powerful, and I imagine it's even better now. So because I kind of saw the draft, so I'm really looking forward to seeing that. But how did you come up with? I mean, why did you build that?
A lot of it was just like kind of get off your butt and do the things you've talked about doing for the last how long. So we talked about doing a video that kind of, yes, this is a little different picture that we're maybe painting about, the shop unity and the shops across the country and everything. The original idea was just way back before all this COVID stuff came out was, yes, about our shop and putting a message out there and telling them, hey, this is our family, this is what our shop represents, and all those good things. But then when time of crisis comes in there, it's like, okay, how is this impacting everybody and how can we include everybody? So I've actually been kind of rejuvenated through all of it, which is really, really weird to say that through, a pandemic that we're rejuvenated as a shop or myself individually. But it's all those things that you think like, the time with your kids, the time with your family, the time with your friends and everything like that. The things that we're missing right now in some cases are like, God, somebody rips that away or something rips that away. That puts everything in perspective. And then you start thinking about your business and it's like, okay, put that in perspective. If I meant to, like, now we have our flag up and you can actually see it in my little virtual video because I had to up John's still image of his background of his shop. So we put a video up there, but like we finally got to the point of putting up that flag, which has been 3 years we've been in the shop, and I'm like, I want a flag right on the corner of the building. Put it up, and then we've actually gotten customers that have called and said, hey, I'm not calling to schedule an appointment. Just notice you put a flag up there. That's pretty cool that you flew that. It's just like this like whole sense of positive mentality, which we always have, but really taking it to the next level to say, God, we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. Let's try to make today as best as we possibly can. And that's overflowed into our Facebook page, our different campaigns that we're running through AutoVitals and such. I mean, AutoVitals definitely does some of our Facebook posts and everything for us as part of that CRM and everything. But now we've said, let's not just rely on that. Let's do some personal connection, like some of our own stuff that another company maybe can't do for us, because we love all those posts, but we've been focusing on the positive aspect, the family aspect. One of the things that we ran as a campaign, but also did on Facebook, was family forever, for always, no matter what. And that like tagline, you can see like the views, you can see the clicks on our campaigns, and all those little things. Like, this is actually like a pretty interesting time to captivate people into spreading your message out, because that vulnerability pulls at emotions, and if you can play to that emotion, you can get a more captivated audience. Like, I think about a Miller Lite commercial that's out there right now, and there's just a piano, nobody says anything, there's just text across there saying like, hey, I think it's something about our local bars and everything like that are shut down right now, but we're going to be back and we're going to be in this together. But it's just text in the background and there's piano playing, and literally every single time I hear just the tone of that piano for 1 second, I stop what I'm doing, I'm looking up there, I'm like, oh, it's a Miller Lite commercial. But just the general mood of the economy and everybody as a whole, I feel like I notice those emotional things more than I did before. So I think if you can focus your campaigns on something that makes an emotional connection, it's probably more impactful right now.
Good, Adam. And see, that's why I love having you on the show, buddy, is because you're so inspirational. And I tell you what, you dropped right now, and I want to repeat it, because this is the first step that you need, and that's positive attitude in a plan, right? You've heard the term smile and dial, right? Because that frame of mind, right, that positive, that your energy comes through the phone. It comes through your email, and it comes through your text also, believe it or not. It comes through your campaign. If you're writing it from a positive and, hopeful and, frame of mind from that reference, it's going to translate. Call me crazy, but it does. Whether you're writing it while you're thinking you're scared, or you're drawn in, or whatever it is, you're guarded, right? That's going to be reflected in the way that people perceive that message when they read it. And so that's the first step, is to be positive, is to have that hope, is to go from that perspective, whatever it takes. Even if you don't feel it personally, but you feel committed to serving your customer, well, then you have hope in that. And you can put that through your message to to connect with those folks, because that's really what, especially now, because we're being bombarded with so much information, and some of it's super scary and some of it's open. Well, which way do we go? We're just spinning. You need to be that rock. You need to be that anchor in your community and be able to lead with that example. And so that's the very first step that you want to get into, is that in that positive frame of mind, have a purpose behind you, have a higher purpose, right? And that's gonna connect with your audience. Dude, thank you, Adam. That was brilliant.
Yeah, and you just like you said, it has to be genuine. You gotta mean it. You can't fake these things. When everybody's email is probably no different than mine, and mine's filled with 50, 60, 70, 100 different emails about here's what we're doing to prevent, the spread of the virus, and and all those different things. And that's great, and our campaigns have showed that in there as well. We have that text, but it's actually the second portion of the message. The portion that we are kind of featuring, if you will, is just saying like, hey, we're here for you. We're open, we're available. Don't feel pressure to come in. We understand the economic situation and such, but at the same time, we're here from you, and we mean that. If there's anything that we can reach out and do, even if it isn't like auto repair related, like let us know what we can do. We're here to help. And that message of that positivity and such, and the way the campaign came across, I literally had a customer that hasn't come to us for 5 years, clearly was cheating on us with somebody else, probably, which happens. I mean, I'm no different than any other shop. If you feel like that's not the case, it's happens without a doubt. So literally five years goes by, and he sends a message. He said, "Hey, I appreciate the email. That was such a positive message. I know I haven't came to you for a while, but I got to have my brakes done in a couple weeks, and I'll let you know as soon as I do." And it was just literally one email, family forever, for always, no matter what, and that caught his attention. And if you can you gotta mean it, but at the same time, if you focus the attention on that genuine nature, positive aspect type campaign in Facebook posts, I think you'll probably benefit from it. But you can't go into it thinking that, hey, how is this going to benefit my shop, because that may take away the emotional and genuineness of it. You just got to do it because it's what you believe in and what you feel is right.
No, exactly. So and so that's great, right? I mean, that's you came from your heart, you came from a place that you are mentally, and you built a campaign around that, and it's obviously been effective, right? Because it seems like there's going to be kind of two buckets of folks, right? There's people that are like, hey, this thing, it's just a flu, and we've had lots of flus, and we can't crush our economy over it, and I'm going to get out and still shop, and I'm going to get out and I'm going to do whatever I can legally in my area to stay engaged. Then there's folks that are, they're hunkered down. They don't even want to crack the door open, right? They haven't been to the mailbox and, who knows how long, right? And you kind of gotta, there's kind of a different message, right? There's folks that are out shopping right now that are loving that there's no lines, and, and gosh, and everybody's discounting everything, and I'm gonna take advantage of this. They're kind of easy to catch, and you need to have a message to kind of hook that fish. And then then what about the other folks? And those are the ones that are going to be more concerned about the safety and those types of things, more so probably than the price. But you also have to give them a compelling reason to take that action. So what are you doing from that perspective? I mean, what's your thought, kind of as you're developing these campaigns, what kind of thought process do you go through to identify, what's going to be effective, or how do you test to make sure something is?
Yeah, this is without a doubt the toughest time to decide how you're going to address the campaigns. Our emergency panic button type campaign that we've been talking about is literally, it's a cheaper oil change with a free brake inspection and tire rotation. It's so simple. It's a $19.99 oil change and free tire rotation, free brake inspection. Saves the customer maybe 30 or 40 bucks roughly. So it's nothing huge. It's no big secret. I'm sure other shops have done that, but we look at it and we say, what's our car count? You manage that over the course of like seeing a trend dipping down, and then once you hit a certain level, and that's going to be different for every shop, is start thinking, okay, that's our go-to. If it hit, if we get slower and such, that's our go-to, and then we'll hit that. And by no means do I want to devalue the price of our service or anything like that, but at the same time, you need to have that in your back pocket for when the car count goes down, that you can hit that to bring the cars back in. I look at campaigns that, yes, we want to increase the car count. Yes, we want to get the sales back in perspective. Yes, we want to hit the GPs and everything. But I also look at it as like your staff, like our shop, one of our guys is salary, but 3 of them are flat rate. And these campaigns aren't just about the shop and sales and everything that way. It's also about the build hours and keeping your staff happy and everything. So I think that when you can do those things to bring the cars in, I have some data that we can share as well. But basically, when you do those things to bring the cars in, it's not just always about the sales. It's always about, creating those hours and stuff for your techs as well. And yeah, maybe they don't want to do an oil change and a tire rotation isn't the preferred job, but at the same time, if it means a couple $100 here, a couple $100 there on their paycheck and not seeing a drop off, that's huge to them. So that's the biggest one that we've sent, is the $19.99 oil change free tire rotation brake inspection. Putting the trust in our guys to do a good quality inspection, take good pictures, take good notes and videos and such, and then putting in the hands of our service advisor staff to then say, hey, we're going to sell some work off this. Yeah, our ARO might go down because we're kind of giving some stuff away for free or cheaper, but at the same time, those opportunities that are created, not only just this week, but then weeks to come, are huge as well. So it's kind of given it maybe a shot in the arm by doing that, is what's been effective for us. So if you want to know some of the numbers and such, I can definitely go through that as well.
Lay them on me. No, I think it was brilliant. Real quick, just so something to chew on is, what I thought that came to my mind when you were saying that is, it's almost like golf clubs, right? I'm a golfer, right? And so if you think about it, your campaigns are kind of like your different sets of irons, right? You use an iron for a specific shot, right? And so think of setting your campaigns up that way. Like you said, you got your long ball hitter back there for when you need, and it might have some coupons in it, but then you've got other campaigns in the bag that you apply to very specific situations or very specific goals that you set for what you're trying to accomplish. Thanks, Adam. Appreciate that, buddy.
Yeah, for sure. So we have those kind of specific campaigns as well. We have our last customer campaign that runs basically, if we haven't seen a certain customer in 9 months, it'll throw out a, hey, we miss you type campaign, so that people can, maybe get the ball rolling back as far as that people that we haven't seen for a while. That's not based off of a certain dollar spent or anything like that. That's just if we haven't seen you in 9 months, hey, come on back, give us another try. Maybe we failed you type thing. Just being upfront with everything as to why we haven't seen you. And then we have like a $25 free gift card to any service. Doesn't matter whether it's an oil change, whether it's a brake job, whether it's a $500 ticket, doesn't matter. It's just $25. And if they just spend that towards just an oil change, I want to give that customer the opportunity to come back in. Yes, it is giving away a free $25, but at the same time, you don't want to lose that customer. So if that means we get that next chance because of whatever reason, price or this and that wasn't quite to their expectation, or maybe they just haven't been in, just creating that recurring customer base. So as far as the oil change one goes, the last time we ran it, we were in February, we had like 76, 71, 84, 74 as far as car count. So like mid 70s ish. And we're used to getting close to 90 on average throughout the year, every single week. So that weekly car count was down maybe 15 cars. Then all of a sudden in March, it dropped to 56, 69, 47, 50. And we're like, God, now as this COVID deal has come up, now our car count is dang near half what it was before. The 1 week we ran the campaign, our car count went to 101 cars. With just that campaign of the oil change, our average car count through February and March, which in Minnesota is our slowest time of the year for sure, was 69 cars. So that is 32 cars more off that one campaign. Our ARO did drop a bit, but our sales throughout February and March, our average weekly sales was $30,000, about $500. And that particular week, it was $32,500. So we're actually $2,000 higher in sales. Our tech build hours was average 143. it went to 190. So techs are happier because now they build out more hours. And then our GP went up about $1,000 over what it was before. So we're doing a lot. We're giving away dollars. We're spending more money on tech overhead costs and everything because they're billing more hours. But at the same time, they're happier because their paychecks went up, even if it was just for that week they went up. And then our GP, like, yeah, it wasn't a significant amount higher, but at the same time, it still was higher. And our total sales were higher. So it's like the cash flow aspect of it. Right now, everybody's budgeting for how am I going to get cash flow? Like this PPP loan is coming out and everything, and hopefully get forgiveness and such. But the biggest thing is, you got to cash flow it until it comes out there. Yep. So that slow time for us right there was no different. We needed a cash flow until the April, May, June busy spell comes back on there. So I look at that one as just a way to create some cash flow, give some build hours out, maintain sales, and then it's crazy how the impact that running that one campaign can have over the next several weeks. So I took a snapshot of September of 2019 was the last time we ran that, and we were down on car count by about 10 to 15 cars again. Our sales were down. They averaged looks like about $31,000 in sales. We ran that same exact campaign with the $19.99 oil change, and we ended up boosting our car count back up to over 100. We did about $42,000 in sales. The tech build hours was the highest over the course of, like, I'm looking at a 3 weeks before we ran the campaign and a 3 weeks after we ran the campaign. Our tech build hours are up. Our GP was up for that 1 week of running the campaign. And the most interesting thing about it is the 3 weeks thereafter, into October, after running that campaign, every single number across the board was higher. Our ARO was up, our total sales were up, our tech build hours were up, and our GP was up, because those people didn't maybe do the work that week of when we did the inspections and did the free brake inspection, everything like that. Is it just coincidence that all of a sudden our ARO and our sales like skyrocketed 3 weeks thereafter? No, probably not. Those people said to themselves, you know what, I don't need an oil change right now, but God, that clunk I haven't gotten addressed yet. So now all of a sudden
they were nice and they were great and they were clean. It's like, what magic wand do you have, right?
Exactly.
But because I want to address Jay, because Jay Eversole said, hey, aren't you afraid of catching those bottom feeders with that 1999 stuff, right? And that's the key. That's the second half of it. You got to rely on your process and your digital inspection program to make them sales, to plant those seeds, Jay. That's what you want to do, is you want to plant the seeds. So if you're doing it consistently and your guys are knocking it out the right way each and every time, let the inspection sheet do the work for you. And you know what? A lot of the bottom feeders because they're used to getting sold to and pressured and all that. And if you throw them a curveball like that digital inspection, just lean back and let it do its job, that bottom feeder might become your best customer. You don't know that.
And then there's also a question there about, did he run in October? I thought this 1999 campaign was run during the pandemic. The last time we ran it was March 15th. So it was during the pandemic, and that's where our car count did go to 101. The last time prior to that I ran it was in September, which is usually a little bit of a slowdown for us during going back to school and everything. So we ran it at that time as well. And that's where both times, pandemic or not, skyrocketed our car count, helped with sales, created opportunities and all those things, to the point of like the bottom feeder part of it. It doesn't bother me that said. It's not that we don't ever talk about those types of things in terms of our shop or network and everything. But when it comes down to it, like, I don't really love that terminology, just because they're still a customer, and just like Tom said, it doesn't mean that, like, if somebody's a bottom feeder, they may have been burnt at a prior shop before. I just had a customer come in yesterday that was very apprehensive about doing some brakes and some fluid services and everything, because the 4 prior shops she was at, she had been burnt and she wasn't quite sure. She was guarded and she wasn't sure if she could, although she saw great reviews and everything and felt a good comfort level, she wasn't sure if she wanted to buy that stuff from me. So we ended up just doing a ball joint safety inspection item yesterday. She gave approval and she just called me this morning and said, hey, I've been thinking about it, everything that you said. Let's do everything on the list, just because, like I said, I was hesitant before, but I get a good feeling, get a good comfortable feeling that you are genuine, in this stuff is needed. So let's go ahead and do it. So please just don't get focused on the bottom feeder. Oh, they only came in for an oil change. They've only spent $50 every time they've come in. That doesn't always mean that they are a true bottom feeder. It could be an opportunity that you need to sway their mentality towards us auto shops in general.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And then you can always fire them later. Get them in, make some sub money, keep your techs busy, fire them later, right? Hey, so Dustin's bringing the hook out. So we want to get a couple things, right? We're going to premiere the video that Adam created, and we're going to introduce our secret special guest. John Long's joining us from Service Automotive for the second half hour. Told you that was going to be a bomb drop. Dustin, cue up that video and stop chatting me.
Come on, man. Thanks for putting this video together. I watched your video.
Perseverance is not giving up. Not today, not ever. It is persistence and tenacity. It is the effort required to do something and keep doing it until the end, even if it's hard. We all fall on hard times, moments that we are weak, vulnerable in ways we would have never guessed. We all cry tears, our hearts get broken, scared of what tomorrow might bring. We all bleed red. We all need someone, find strength in each other, face our fears and thrive together. We all need comfort, a shoulder to lean on, genuine love for one another. We all bleed red. This is a moment in time. This time will pass. Through strength, unity, and the secret ingredient, love. Perseverance is not giving up. Not today, not ever.
Thank you to all the shop owners for working hard and keeping our country, part of the reason our country's going right now. Just keep up the good work, everybody, and let's do it together. All right? That's the best way to do it. Thanks, Adam.
Wow, buddy. I'm telling you, that's some strong stuff, man. That is incredible job. And saw it here first. We're going to make it go viral. Share it with your friends. Now, seriously, everybody watching that, share it. Get on there and share it. That was a great job, Adam. Really touching, buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And thanks for everybody's involvement. Couldn't make it that way without you. And I genuinely mean that. It's been really cool, the outpouring of support, not only with just picture sharing, just messages and different things like that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. I don't know if I can handle another one. Matter of fact, I got to lighten it up. And so we're going to start in the second half. We're going to bring in Chris Maggard, and we're going to start talking now kind of about how do you take some of these things that we've been talking about and actually turn it into results for you, right? And Chris, are you on with us? Can you hear me okay?
I am here.
Fantastic. And so what we like to talk about, I think, getting started is kind of some of the basic elements of...
Before we get started, Tom, I just want to make a solid break to anybody who's listening live on Facebook, okay? Now you got to go over to autovitals.com/DSTR. Just enter your email address. Another video will pop up, but in order to access this second part live, we got to go over to that website, okay? The link is on Facebook right now. Just click on it. Move on over, all right?
Yeah, come join us. We're all in here. We're sharing cocktails. You're missing out. They're digital cocktails, but man, do I feel tipsy.
After that video,
and
right?
we're done with
Oh,
Facebook.
dude,
All right.
I need a shot after that. I need some scotch or something.
Shots of coffee, that is.
Yeah. Woo. That was good stuff.
All right, well, here we go. Now we're on Facebook. We're ready to go with part 2 on the how. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you. Voice from the sky. So, Chris, we were talking about how do we set up, what are kind of the most important elements when you're advising folks? What are you telling them, like the building blocks on how to create effective campaigns?
Absolutely. So keep in mind, we are going through a challenging time right now across the world, but what we're going to talk about today can be applied for the COVID issues that we're facing, but also just in real life, right? Day to day. So couple things that are really important in what I talk about, and it also comes back to what Adam said, is your first impression, right? Catchy subject lines draw in attention. That's your first impression to get them to click that button to take the next step, right? Whether that next step is to schedule an appointment, it's to review that offer, to see vehicle information that's on that campaign, right? First step is a catchy subject line to draw in your attention. Another thing is making sure you're segmenting your targeted audience, right? So some of the questions that Adam got was pertaining to, are you worried about bottom feeders? You might send out that $19.99 oil change to your best customers. They're loyal to your shop, right? Helping them help you during this time of need is important. So making sure you have the right targeted segment for the type of campaign you're going to want to target: lost customers, new customers, maybe your whole database, right? Depending on the message that you're wanting to communicate. And then another thing that is important to me is you spend time creating campaigns. You can use a templated-based campaign, which is really quick. You can have it done in a couple minutes. You might spend 30, 40 minutes creating a custom campaign. Always share your template and save it. Why? You can repurpose that and use it down the road. You can change your messaging, but you have the ground roots of that campaign created. And then lastly is always keep track of when you're sending your campaign. The delivery and the day and time when you're sending that campaign makes a world of difference. Personally, I've seen a lot of success when triggering campaigns on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. your time, right? It tends to generate a lot of success. Why that is more successful than a Monday at 7 a.m., I'm not sure, but I see a lot of success triggering Tuesdays, Thursdays at 10 a.m.
Interesting. And so would you recommend, so folks just keep a log, or, you know, I mean, we timestamp the campaigns in the campaign manager, but you want to mix it up, I guess, until you find the sweet spot. And it probably is local. It depends on, you know, I mean, if you live in lazy town, people aren't even getting out of bed till noon. So then you got to send it a little later.
Right. It's kind of like the world of the messaging world is you need to target someone 3 times before they respond, right? So you might send it out at a different day and time, 3 different times. Analyze your results. Identify what day and time was best suited for you and apply that to the future, right? You got to find the right combination to unlock the lock.
Yeah. And so you dropped a lot of nuggets there. So let's chop it up a little bit. So if I want to back it up a little bit, because I think you're right, you know, the first thing that they see is kind of that subject line, right? Mm-hmm. And so Adam, and you know, I'll start with you, and John, I'd like to get your input too, because, you know, hey, the more perspective we can get and the more, you know, experience that we can get, I should say wisdom, right? It's going to be, you know, helpful in terms of kind of working on that. Adam, what goes into your thought process when you're thinking about the subject line? I mean, that's the first impression, right?
Yeah. Trial and error. A lot of it is looking at how your campaigns do with click rates and email rates and everything. Interestingly enough, I thought the text click rate would be higher than the email rate, but we've actually seen better email rate. So I don't know if that's generated towards having a subject line and being able to see a lot of more of the campaign as a, you know, with like a picture as opposed to just text. It seems like the pictures go a long way, and we've noticed that on our Facebook posts as well. Even text over a picture is like, get the message. It's like the editing inspections link, and you know, believing in that end of it, seeing the picture and then having text overlay. You know, your campaigns and your Facebook posts and different things like that are just as important to put that text overlay of an image. So that's the best thing that we've seen. Subject line stuff is like I mentioned before, is a heartfelt message right now probably catches somebody's attention more than the saying like a, you know, here we're disinfecting your steering wheel kind of thing. But you know, it's like right now to me, it's about heartfelt messages as opposed to throwing a special out there. But if we need a quick car count in a time where there isn't a pandemic going on, it's a 99 oil change. Oh, let me see what that's all about, and click on it. So
yeah, and it's making something that's relatable, right? And something that somebody can take action on. So your subject line might say, you know, hey, click this link for a free chance to win a roll of toilet paper, right? A lot of people will click on that right now. Yep. You know, when the Popeye sandwich was blowing up, you know, hey, giving away free Popeye sandwiches. You can't get them because they're sold out. I got them. And then, you know, you have a coupon for a free Popeye sandwich when they got them back in stock down the road. No, I'm just,
So Tom,
just
just to kind of add on to that, everything Adam is mentioning is calls to action, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have your subject lines, your call to action, your coupon is your call to action, your messaging is your call to action, right? Without calls to action, you probably aren't going to have that great of a campaign that goes out. Calls to action creates your customers to do something, right? It makes them want to take that next step, which is why those images are really important.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. So John, what's your process like when you're, you know, looking to create a new campaign?
Yeah, just like Adam and Chris have said, it's all about timing and having a great subject matter. You know, I am definitely not the smartest person in the room or the most creative. So, I mean, I always pull my staff, my team members. They are really, really great about trying to help us out. And, you know, I'll get 4 or 5 of them together and say, okay, what do you guys want to do? How do you want to do it? What do you want to say? And collectively, we'll come up with something together. And then there's times where I'll even bounce something off other shop owners like Adam. You know, Adam and I talk quite a bit. But it's just, you know, number one, you got to have the correct timing. You don't want to send something out now that's not, I won't say, you know, not relative, but you got to be careful of what you want to send out now. You know, 2 weeks ago on March 23rd, you know, talk about hitting that panic button. You know, we had almost no appointments set for that week, pretty much none. You know, I hit the panic button, I sent out a campaign, and, you know, the subject line was just simple. Yes, we are open. And then after that, you know, I got into why we're open. I talked about, you know, we're open because of the family, you know, to support your family, you know, to support the first responders out there, you know, just any government employees that needed to work, you know, and got into that to let them know why we're open and what we're doing. And, you know, from that campaign, you know, that kept us open that week. You know, we generated over $8,000 in gross profit dollars. And that definitely helped us pay the bills that week, for sure.
So, you know, that's brilliant. It's because, and this is what I'd say to folks, you know, that maybe they're not used to running campaigns. You can't do it once, right? You have to test it. You have to track those metrics, your open rate, your response rate. And yeah, you know what, I was talking with some guests a week or so back, and, you know, I had negative response. I sent out something about, how dare you? Well, you know what? You're always going to get those folks.
Yeah.
Let them vent and focus on the rest of them that still need their vehicle to operate, and get to the store and to the doctor and to the hospital, whatever they have to do, get to work. And then, you know, again, be prepared. You know, what's the first thing anybody's going to want to do when this thing lifts? Get as far away from their house as possible. They're going to do that in their car. You know what I mean? You guys are going to get slammed. So matter of fact, Dustin, load up that video I showed you. Here's, because John, you said something that was beautiful. You don't have to be, you know, Da Vinci. You don't have to be the guy thinking of all the ideas. You know why? Because all those goofballs that are running around in your business right now are probably cutting it up and coming up with funny stuff and thinking of creative ideas as reactions, like all tradesmen do when they're in there, you know, working. And you just have to observe some of the silliness that they're coming up with and leverage that, right? And this, I've got this video, and you might have seen it, but I'm gonna go ahead and play it. Maybe you haven't. This is from a shop in, I believe it's Australia, but this is 10 million views, almost 11 million views now.
And repossessed vehicles. Buyback guarantee available now on selected cars, so you can buy with confidence at auction every Thursday from 10 a.m.
You get the idea, right? You can find that video on Facebook. It's blowing up. It's gone viral. It's just so funny. I'm sure that the techs were doing in the shop, and the owners noticed it, and they made a little funny video out of it, and it just took off. I mean, 11 million views on that thing. And it's right there, you know, walking around in front of you each and every day, hitting the time card, you know, because, yeah, I mean, that's what you do. And most people that are, you know, positive thinking and have a job to do are gonna make light of even the worst situations. And that obviously there's a big audience that appeals to, because look at how much, you know, views that video has. Not everybody wants to be feeling the doom and gloom all the time. We have to focus our minds on positive things. And that's a perfect example of how you can create something in a minute on your phone and really reach out and touch folks. And that'll be remembered for a long time.
Think about, Tom, how much that creates more traffic to their Facebook page and different things just from having it on there, and then how many more likes they have. So now 2 or 3 months from now, when that shop needs to get some cars in and they run a special or they do whatever, maybe they got another 100 people that are liking their page that see that next message. So it's not always about today's message, it's about the next message too.
Yeah, that's a great point, right?
Yeah, and that kind of brings up another point. You know, I'm going to send out a campaign probably later today. I was trying to get to it before we came on, but it's going to be just to say, hey, you know, we're still here. You know, it's going to have a little video that we did that says, you know, okay, we know you're not driving. This is what you need to look out for when you do start driving in case something happens. You know, drive your car around the block, charge the battery up, you know, once in a while. You know, if your brakes squeak, it possibly normal because the car's been sitting. You know, check tire pressure. If the tire pressure light comes on, stop by. We can fill up your tire pressure. But I'm going to send, you know, just that link out. Then I'm going to send a link to our car guy video that we did, just something, you know, kind of fun for them. And it's, there's going to be no discount, no nothing on it. It's just going to be, hey, I know you're not driving. Look out for these things. And then if you got 5 minutes to kill, here's a fun video we did last year on it.
No, that's a great idea, right? And it's, you know, it's again, it's give to receive, you know, and your first campaign might just be, how you doing? Everything okay?
Absolutely. Right,
Anything
Tom?
I can do for you?
For sure. Make sure they know that you're open and you're there to help them. What you're doing to protect them, right? Keyless drop off. Maybe free, maybe you guys are doing free pickup and delivery of the vehicle. You're disinfecting, right? You can always send something out that will still generate business, just knowing that you guys are open, top of mind awareness, getting in front of them. If you do something like that, it's not successful, it's not helping drive in business, then 2 weeks later, maybe you kick in a coupon, right? It's all about trial and error and finding that sweet spot, and making sure that you're continuing. Like right now, a lot of folks are doing campaigns that have never done them before.
Yeah.
Being proactive in your marketing, not just for issues that are going on with COVID, but also create a marketing calendar. Do something to get in front of your customers, if not monthly, quarterly, right? It will help you and also help them. It's proactive marketing, especially when you know you're having a valley in your business. Always target your customers 30 days to a couple weeks before that to subsidize and try and fill up your bays during that time when you know you're going to be slow.
Yeah. And that's a brilliant point, Chris. For folks that are maybe doing this for the first time, you have to commit. You can't send something out and get a low open rate and get 2 phone calls and go, see, I knew this was going to be garbage. You have to, and that's the best way to do it, is build a calendar, set a goal, set milestones in that calendar and commit to it. And don't even look at the results. Don't even look at the results. You know, it's like when you're doing the weight loss thing, right? If you keep getting on the scale, pretty soon you're just going to quit, you know, because, you know, it takes a while in the beginning. Don't even look at the results yet. Run the campaigns according to your calendar, send them, mix them up, get brilliant ideas, you know, and pick the brains of your peers on the Facebook forum or directly on what's successful. Talk to your AutoVitals advisors and trainers on what they're seeing success across, you know, our network of shops. Use those ideas and just commit to it and do it. Then look at your numbers, right?
Another suggestion is, if you have the retention program, use your business control panel, download your customer frequency report. Identify your peaks and your valleys.
Yes.
Spend a couple hours, create ideas of your marketing calendar, what you want to do, when you want to do it. Go into your campaign manager, create active reoccurring campaigns, right? You can create an active campaign for 12 months, right? January through December, schedule it. You never have to go back and look at it again unless you want to revise it, right? So a couple hours of your time can set you up for 12 months.
Yes. See, that is awesome. That's exactly like we were talking about in the first half hour, in the first segment, is to say, think of it like those different clubs in your bag, and you got to build them, right? You had to go down and buy your clubs and put them in there. And then now they're ready to be used, and those templates are there, and you can, that calendar that you plan out, now you just schedule when you're going to apply those shots, right? And then it's almost ready to go. I mean, you're going to want to track the metrics, and you're going to want to tweak here and there, and you're going to want to make sure that they're working right and that they're sending right, and that all the, the recipients are it's actually working good, maintenance. But to Chris's point, you can put in a Sunday, Saturday afternoons worth of work and reap the benefits. How are you, Adam, kind of scheduling those campaigns? Do you just kind of keep them in a template and pull them out when you need them? Do you run a reoccurring calendar?
Yeah, we save everyone as a template just because you never know if one was working great that you'll want to run it again. If one was not working great, you still want to see those stats from way back when. And watching that data and looking back at the ones you've sent and the open rate and the click rate, and then comparing that to your car count data and maybe your sales history of when you ran those, can give you a lot of insight as to how that performed. And definitely, as far as recurring ones, like I mentioned, the last customer one is a recurring monthly one that goes out. Chris, actually, I had a question for her to clarify for myself and anybody watching is, she had said every 12 months or so, that goes for 12 months, you're set up for the year. If we have that recurring monthly one, is it something we have to update yearly, or is it doing it on its own?
You'll need to update it yearly, and the reason being is in order to create that active campaign, you need to schedule it and put a due date and launch, and then it will launch based on that date. So it depends on how you create it. If you're going in there and you create something for 24 months, or you give it different scheduled dates to launch, it's going to launch based on that date. So it's how you configure it. But essentially, I would do it just for the year and then go back and identify what did work, what didn't work, and make adjustments to the next marketing calendar that you're going to launch.
Yeah, and think of your seasonal stuff in the same way. Back to school happens when back to school happens. 4th of July is 4th of July. So you can build, specific seasonal campaigns as well, and then just schedule them out for, week out, 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after, something like that, however you want to run it. I mean, Chris, what would you recommend as far as a time frame around events like that?
30 days prior to the event, because that gives them time to figure out, like, for them to apply the special, be scheduled, and come in. Because keep in mind, you're targeting people that are due, overdue, or not due at all, right? So the goal when you're doing these campaigns is to get these customers in sooner rather than later, more frequent, and in between services. And so, like, a couple campaigns that work really, really well, tax rebate, and these are some specials that Dustin put out here that I've kind of done, some COVID specials, New Year's special, but just I've been doing retention marketing since 2008. Thanksgiving, Christmas, or holiday, because some people just don't want to use the word Christmas, tax rebate, back to school, winter, spring, summer, fall, right? Every month there is something you can do, and you can change it up and do it differently in order to drive in business and get in front of those folks that maybe aren't due, that you can drive them in for an additional service.
Any particular day of the week that you feel is most effective to run that campaign?
Tuesdays or Thursdays.
Well, okay. Sounds confident in that.
Yeah, it works really well. And again, I don't know why Tuesdays and Thursdays are the sweet spot, but I've done a lot of digging, and Tuesdays and Thursdays tend to be the best.
What time? Should we send them
10
before?
10 a.m.
10 a.m.?
Yes.
Awesome.
I mean, right now with COVID, you can't really control what's going on. It's really funky. You got to get it out when you can get it out to do the best you can. But if, in fact, you can be picky going forward, 10 a.m. Tuesday, Thursdays is the sweet spot.
Awesome. And then what about follow-up? Should you plan on doing some follow-up to that campaign? And when would you run that, if so?
You can. So to me, is if you do a campaign and it completely fails, right? You get like nothing out of it, switch it up and launch it again in 2 weeks. I would always wait 2 weeks. You got to give your customers time to react, right? And then also when you're using coupons, always use an expiration date. Your expiration date creates the urgency. And try not to be flexible. Don't let, Mr. Smith walk in and today you're going to offer and allow him to use that coupon that expired 30 days ago, because that same guy is going to come in again with an expired coupon, and now you're setting a trend. It sucks. You want to help them, but there's a reason why you're doing an offer. It's to help you generate business, get in front of your customers, stick to your expiration date, or you're losing urgency.
So let's talk about that a little, because we had, in the chat, we had quite a bit of, reaction around talking about discounts. John, do you send out coupons in your campaigns regularly?
Yes, we do. And part of that is thinking, you're going to use your digital inspection, you're going to get some more out of it. We've just got to be great at doing what we do and trying to, maximize every sale. Now, sometimes, we'll put a cap on those discounts. So say, 10% off up to $50 or $100. So it really doesn't kill us too bad. Long as we can maximize other stuff by using our digital inspection and trying to maximize everything. And it's, we're not trying to, sell everything to the customer, but we're just trying to make them aware of everything that's wrong and let them make the decision on it.
You're the car doctor.
Yes, exactly. We're going to let them make the decision, but let them know everything that is wrong. Inspect 100% and estimate 100%.
Yes.
And then present it 100%, the 300% rule.
Yep. So Adam, you gave us some insight on what you're running from a coupon or a promo perspective. Have you ever tested it, like sent the exact same message with and without the promo in it? And what results did you get if so?
I wouldn't say necessarily tested them back to back, so to speak, but we have tested the different types of coupons in a sense of like the oil change one, obviously the heartfelt message one that we touch base on, and then the, hey, fall tune-up special kind of deal. I'll be honest, and maybe other shops have had other better results and such, but for us, like running a tune-up special and different things like a specialized service type deal has not really worked that well. It's like the timing of it is so hard to hit. I mean, you're looking at maybe a 5% open rate reaction of an oil change special, to boost our car count up. Now you're looking at hitting the same 5%, but then the likelihood of those 5% needing that particular service at that time frame, unlikely. So more of a broad range, like John had mentioned, a 10% off up to a certain dollar amount kind of deal has been much more effective for us.
I agree. So when you do coupons like that are service specific, you're limiting your response, right? Oil changes are different because generally everybody needs an oil change, but I definitely recommend if you're going to do a service specific coupon, also do, and by the way, you can add up to 3 different offers, you guys, through the campaign manager with AutoVitals. So if you're going to do something service specific, also do something that's not service specific. So if you have somebody that needs something else, you have an opportunity to drive them in. So the additional non-service specific coupon would apply to them.
Let me ask you something. So what about like sales drivers that you get from your vendors? Like the Napa sales drivers are great ones, right? Matter of fact, we have automation on those Napa sales drivers in your campaign manager now, or we have for a long time actually. But Chris, what experience do you see? I mean, what's more effective, kind of a campaign or coupon that you create yourself and it's more local to the shop, or some of those rebate sales driver type things that come from suppliers?
I think it depends on the time of the year and what discount you're trying to offer. Like, for example, if you have Napa and they're doing like free wiper blades or something like that, and it's winter, and it's going to work great because they're going to come in and they're going to get free wipers.
Did you put both?
I would, absolutely. I absolutely don't limit yourself. One thing that works really well is like October, brakes for breast. I would probably do just brakes for breast at that time, right?
That's what we normally do. Yeah, we did that last year, and that was a tremendous success for us.
And you need to change out your website or build a landing page around brakes for breast. So that's the other thing, is that you want to, if you're going to get behind something like that, it has to be real. It has to be committed, and you have to show that you're committed. And the greatest way to do that is to put your call to action to the Brakes for Breast landing page that's on your website. And there maybe is a specific coupon for that and a specific appointment, widget it's still the same appointment book, but it just looks specific to that campaign. And that shows really that you're committed to that degree, and people will take you serious when you show that level of commitment.
That's
Tony,
a great point. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Adam.
Tony mentioned in the comments there about we also get our main vendors involved by giving them discounts. John specifically, we didn't run the break one last year. He did though. You got your vendor involved in that, I believe.
Oh yeah, they gave us free brake pads, for whatever brake pads we ordered and needed. And I think we did like almost 80 or 90 some brake pads or brake jobs that month. I'd have to go back and look, but it was close to 100. It didn't quite hit my goal of 100, but we got pretty close.
Absolutely. And what I was going to say is, just to tag on to Tom, is when you're doing a promotion, like a campaign, you're only targeting existing customers, you guys.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
you should be duplicating that offer on your website. Again, expiration dates help. It removes that offer. They become not valid after a certain time frame, but don't exclude yourself to greatness. Include not only existing customers, put it on your website. If somebody lands on your website, offer it to a new one as well.
Yeah. Because you can create user experiences just by adding landing pages, and you funnel them right to that landing page, and then you can offer whatever ongoing promotions or services that you need to be able to convert them into returning. I mean, that's the name of the game, is get them to become repeat customers. Great to get them in the door, and if you got a discount to get them into the door, and like we were saying earlier, is you just rely on that inspection sheet. You just follow the best practices and let that inspection sheet do the work, and convert them into lifelong customers. That's really the goal that you're looking, the big goal. And then you can chop that up into segments following your campaigns and give them a funnel with that experience, and it's going to bring them right to the phone call, right? You just lead them in. You just do it digitally.
One thing I haven't done yet that I intend to do next time we do it in February, actually it expires in February because I like that call to action expiration date deal, is our Christmas special. We do the wow cards. Like I think AutoVitals is starting to mention, or maybe Protractor is starting to mention, doing wow cards, and maybe piggybacking on the actual campaign of the wow card. The wow card's like a gift card, it's a $50 off any type of service, but as of yet, I have not ran an AutoVitals campaign at the same time frame to those customers to say, hey, look for this in your mail. That may generate a better result by piggybacking together on a digital platform to expect this to come in your mailbox type deal. So I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on that, but it's a note that I've made for myself come November when we start planning that to piggyback that on top of each other.
I think that's a great idea. That's an awesome idea.
Can you share your results, Adam?
With the wow cards?
Well, no, I know wow cards work well. I definitely like them. Your results with piggybacking with AutoVitals in addition to the wow cards.
Oh, that's what I was saying. As far as the wow cards go, the wow cards themselves have been led to $800 average repair order for like the last 4 years that we've done them. So it's been awesome that way. I have yet to piggyback with AutoVitals, but this next coming year, we certainly will. So you'll probably have to have me back on in March, and maybe we can bring John in there because he loves seeing me as well. So as far as that goes, I haven't done it yet. So, but
for sure, if you remember, please share those results. I would like to see how that outcome was for you.
Yeah, we usually get about 100 of the cards back over the course of January and February when the promotion is out there. So if then all of a sudden we get 150, and we usually send it to about the same quantity of people, obviously it was better to piggyback them for sure, but we just don't have that data yet.
Yeah, awesome. Tony Funderburg has great, input here too, that, the brake specials for front and rear pads are working really well for them. And that, one of the nice things is it's really easy to plan it on your calendar. And so it brings in a huge boost, and you can kind of, then expect that business. So like to Chris's point earlier, you want to schedule those types of effective campaigns, even if you only do them a couple of times a year, but you schedule them in those valleys, right? If you start to look at your car count, your seasonality in your car count, you're going to see the peaks and valleys. You want to schedule those heavy hitters, pull out the driver for those valleys, right? And you want to flatten that curve, go figure. I guess this is part of our life now. Flatten the curve.
Definitely.
Well, that's awesome. I think an hour flew by. It was pretty incredible. We're 3 minutes over. Justin isn't even yelling at me yet. Tony Funderburg says, happy to share with everyone. Just message her. And that's the other thing is, everybody message each other. Y'all just get together and hold hands and message each other right now. Because to Adam's point in the beginning of the show, is it really does take this community of folks. And everybody's out here and, hey, who doesn't have some time on their hands right now? And, stay busy by helping. Stay busy by helping others. And that will come back to you in new ideas, in a fresh perspective. You heard Adam himself right out of the horse's mouth say that just building that project and rethinking his messaging and kind of some of the services that he provides to the community and the way that he does it has inspired him and put him in a frame of mind where he's positive through this period of time and really gonna just keep that trajectory running when this thing gets in our rear view mirror and be way ahead of the pack as we come out of it. And that's where we want all of you to be. And you do that by banding together with positive, turn off the stupid news on the TV and get on the Facebook forum and start talking shop with these folks. And, it'll put a new pep in your step.
Without a doubt. Yeah. And I'll be the first one to say, we don't do everything at our shop. There's shops that have great ideas. John, what Chris has brought up today, I've actually made a couple of notes for myself, in this and everything. And a little bit is a lot better than nothing. So, just try to do something and put a positive effort towards it.
Yeah. And you can find Chris Maggard on Facebook too. So if she might not be your advisor, but, say hi. Friender, all that good stuff, and just reach out, ask questions, because you're going to get lots of good answers. And hey, they might not all work, but I bet you something in there is going to help you hit the long ball. So
absolutely, I'm here to help. So if anyone needs help with anything, just message me and I'll do my best to help you. And if I can't help you, I'll make sure we get someone that can.
Yeah. And huge shout out, John Long. Thank you for coming in and your secret super guest role. Adam, like always, man, you almost made me cry today, buddy. That was pretty awesome. Great show. And really, just from the bottom of my heart, I really thank you guys for coming on. I'm sure, everybody listening to you today has taken, away some inspiration from what you guys are giving us. Can't thank you enough, gentlemen.